Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. A very good afternoon to all the viewers. I'm Hiral Dadia. Interesting moves that we are witnessing in the last hour of trade. We did inch to the day's lowest levels with sudden recovery again, but not a major one. We hit a low of 19,233 and currently we are now trading at 19,279. So almost 40, 45 point recovery that we've seen as we speak. The breath continues to be in favor of the declines and pressure continues. 44,000 is what we're tracking so far in terms of Bank Nifty. Taking expiry into consideration, the reversal in Bank Nifty was something that we were tracking, which was a key concern, as well as the MSCI flow and expiry. What we were talking about would keep the markets volatile as well, and that's been the phenomenon. But let's quickly welcome in our guest for the day. We have Manoj from Religare to discuss more in terms of what could be on the cards. Manoj, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good afternoon, Hiral. Thank you for having me on the show.
Always a pleasure. Manoj, how is the market looking like so far? Because clearly we have been trending downwards in today's session, taking expiry into consideration. The expectation was weak. Yesterday, if you were talking about rollover data as well, Nifty rolls observed at 60% versus an average of, say, 58 over the last 3 months. Whereas
Right.
Bank Nifty, we are seeing somewhere around 57% versus a 3-month average. That's remained pretty much the same. What's the data indicating so far?
Hiral, I guess we need to look more from a broader perspective. See, now FI's role, if you understand that 2016 and 17, they were a good 55% of the market. Now it is still down to almost a 40-46%. So the retail is good enough. Retail is almost at par to what the retail and the HNI progress is what I mean. They're at par to what the FIs are doing. Now, if you see last month, this August series when we started, the Nifty had a good positioning of almost 1 crore 17 odd lakhs, and I believe that is the highest that we have seen in the last 3 months at least. And but in the last fortnight, right from 19,600 levels, the Nifty managed to witness profit booking, and almost good amount of money was taken out of the market from the FI desk as well. Now, I'm afraid there is a concept called as hedge ratio, which simply denotes the amount of Nifty futures that you are used to short your portfolio against the desk. So, FIs have been at least in a 60%, 60% in terms of short position they have for the August series. And we believe that has been rolled into the September series as well. The only difference here is we would shy away from a good 17 odd lakhs in terms of positioning. So almost at 1 crore is where we, in terms of open interest, is where we would be starting the September series, and there is a possibility the Nifty might drift good 350, 400 points. So I believe 19,000 and 19,500. More or less, that's the range that we might see at least in the first fortnight of September series.
Right. And how is Bank Nifty looking like? Because again, but in Bank Nifty as well, wherever you saw strength earlier was specifically with regards to the PSU banking space. Private banks also and PSU banks have run up as well. How are you seeing that positioning?
Hiral, this is a very interesting thing because if you see the weightage of the PSU in the bank nifty is not more than an 18%, and the private sector and the four major banks that contribute to almost 80-82%. So there is always a lag from the PSU side, and we have seen that at least in the last quarter they have catched up. Now there is a ratio between the bank nifty, and if we simply see it's currently at around 2.28, and we believe there is a good support at 2.26. So what it means is, yes, Bank Nifty might see some more profit booking possible and 8 to 1,000 more point, but then the risk reward says there is a possibility of a good support closer to 43,000, and there are chances that we might see at least a 45,200. So this 2,200 odd point is where we are expecting the next fortnight into the September series for the bank.
Right. Talking about stock specific action from here on, again, it's a good amount of pockets that we are seeing action coming in. If you look at individual stocks like a Torrent Pharma as well as a HDFC AMC in today's session, a bearish setup is what we're picking up so far. What's the trend looking like, and what would you advise investors to do with both these names?
There is a bit more of finance that we need to look into these parts. See, there is something concept called as a arbitrage which goes into the market. Now, when investors are pumping money into the market, they use the route of fresh arbitrage. Fresh arbitrage is when you buy in the cash market and you see some shorting in the stock future. So, a better way to understand this is we look into the entire weightage of the sector in the market wide open interest. So, I'll give you an example. Cement, as specific, the entire F&O segment has a weightage of around 3.5%. Now, this used to be the case for metals also just last 3 to 4 months. Now, the metal sector has gained almost a 2%, it is closer to 5%. So, we believe that FMCG, cement, metals, this and IT, this would be the four sectors where there is good buying which is going on. So, the shorting that you're seeing in the stock future need not be a negative role, it is more doing the job of a hedge in that. So, I believe that pharma, especially stocks like Cipla has a good potential on the upside. So we are very stock specific, at least for this series, because we are starting on a very cautious note. So Cipla would be the top bet. Torrent Pharma, as of now, we would be avoiding, at least in the short term.
Right. How are you looking like at names like, say, a Persistent as well as a Coforge? Because both these IT names are seeing a long build up today.
Yeah, here again, as I was mentioning now, Coforge, at least in the last 3 days of expiry, we have seen exceptional option activity along with the futures. Usually, this is not a stock where the options are that liquid or we see that activity going on. But then, yes, this momentum has come in. But if you stick with stocks that have more potential, like say, an Infosys has at least a 20 to 26 more points, somewhere close to 1468 to 1470 as a resistance. And if you remember, after the correction that happened post results, even that levels of 1360s where we have seen huge delivery based buying. So at least from 100 days, which is at least a quarter's time, if you see there is a good potential of almost 1550 to 1600 on Infosys. So that would be a better bet. And we would refrain from Persistent and Coforge. Yes, those can be trading bets for 2 to 4%. But if you're talking about the series as well, for the September series, I believe Infosys has more meat on the upside. Somewhere 1480 to 1500 should be in the short term.
Right. Manoj, I was looking at a Maruti. Stock is seeing some absolute fabulous move in today's session. Its call options have also doubled today. What's the action you're picking up so far?
Hiral, there needs to be a special note on this because I guess this is after a good 4.5 months that we're seeing this positive addition in the open interest that happens. Now, what happens is month on month, there is a certain specific amount of percentage, generally around 90-92%, that the stock sees a rollover. But Maruti has seen exceptional delivery almost at the 9,800 odd level, so almost the so currently, I guess it's around 10,000 odd. And this net, if you see month on month, it is seen at least an equivalent of 22 to 25% in terms of open interest. So what I'm trying to say here is September series is started with almost one fourth extra in terms of open interest, and that has more potential. So at least a short term target of 10,280 to 10,300 should be in the offing. 9,900 is a very good support for the stock. So Maruti would be the leader at least in the September series first quarter is what we need.
Right. If you have to look at a few other names like a BHEL and TVS, that is also seeing some good amount of long formation. How are you looking at both these names?
I would go with TVS because, as I was saying, there were almost 5 to 8 stocks that we have been filtering since Monday where the rollover happens. Now, the good thing about BHEL is BHEL has actually seen a good weighted average accumulation closer to 1996. So the stock is actually run away, but this would not really be a level to go long with that. Now, the TVS Motor, along with Maruti, I was saying, and some in Tata Motor, these are the three stocks where we believe there is good meat and at least a possible 4 to 6% more on the upside, at least for TVS Motor in the short term.
Right. Manoj, apart from the names that we've discussed, anything else that comes to your radar that could be good investment opportunities?
Yeah, for the derivative guy, an investment would be not more than a month's time, let's say, if I have to understand that, or maybe at least a quarter's time. So, here the concept here is IT index. If you remember, if I'm not mistaken, the October time, when the results came in from that level, Infosys at 1280, stocks which saw good correction had seen delivery based buying, and now there is a possibility 40 to 60% up move. Now we are almost at a 20-25% move. So stocks like Infosys, as I was mentioning, it has a good potential of 1600 in the short term. Even stocks like ICICI has at least a 1040 to 1080 in the short term. And specifically cement, we believe would be a sector where possibly now we wait for the Bow copy today actually to understand more on the traction that happens. But pharma, FMCG and IT, we believe this would be the three sectors that will help at least the positive series because September would not really be a positive series at least in the first fortnight. So I'm afraid all the defenses would come into action and FMCG, cement and pharma would be the sectors where the money would stay.
Right. So these are sectors one should be watching out for as well. Thank you, Manoj, so much for joining us on the show and sharing the views. So clearly, if you see in terms of markets, as Manoj was mentioning, there are pockets which are emerging as good buying opportunities. But from a market perspective as well, we are below the 19,300 mark. So that's an interesting closing that we are witnessing in terms of this expiry as well. And a little over 200 points downtick coming in terms of Bank Nifty. Looking at the movers and shakers, Maruti is the top gainer. In fact, it's hit a life high level today. Cipla, HDFC Life, Hindalco, as well as Titan are seeing some smart gains. Whereas on the losing end, you have names like Adani Enterprises, BPCL, Adani Ports, Aisha Motors, as well as Britannia. So these are the stocks that are in focus as we speak. But clearly, if you go to see from a market perspective, downtick is what we are seeing. That's all that we have on this session. Thanks for watching, and lots more lined up on the other side. Please stay tuned to BQ Prime.